6 p.m. Call this meeting of the Johnson County Community Visitor and Tourism Board to order. With that, and as a governmental unit, we shall pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Secretary, could you call roll, please?
Jason Belk, who's absent. Don Cummings,
Present.
Donnie Robinette, that's me, I'm here. Jeanette Baker,
Present.
James Cobb. Here.
Surprised you didn't.
Yeah, and look up. Jennifer Eccles.
Here.
Joe Hubbard. Here. Paul Jockin. I don't think he's here. And Jerry Spindler.
Present.
Present.
You have a quorum, Mr. President.
All right, we have a quorum. So you've all seen the agenda. Are there any need for adjustments to the agenda tonight?
I do not have any.
Anyone else? All right, with that, we will proceed as is. I have a motion for the consent agenda approval.
Before you take a motion for that, I need to note that there are 4 checks written in the checkbook that aren't reflected in this month's board packet. They will be reflected in the next one. They just came in too late. So if you could have a motion to approve with that stipulation.
Fair enough.
Moved as amended.
We have a moved as amended. Do we have a second? We have a second. We have a second from Jerry and Joe. All in favor of approving the amended consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda passes. Committee reports.
There are none this month.
All right. Old business,
There is none this month.
new business.
We have 2 grant requests before us today. Let's go back to the first slide just real quick. So as we talked about, fortunately, we have some carryover funds that will allow us to continue to do great work. This is a rundown of things that could happen, and about, as I told you last month, about the only 2 that I see for sure coming to us are those first 2, and those are in fact the ones we're going to talk about this evening. All right, the new requests, we'll start with the Veterans Alley piece. So just to give you some history and some context, one side of the alley has been done, and normally we would contribute half to that cost, but Dana and the city were able to find funding to do the entire side. So that leaves us with this, the 250th birthday of our country, and we want to do something even similar to that, but on a much grander scale on the other side that will be 250th themed. So again, Dana is hard at work and is hopeful. She's already, received 25,000 in funding, and she's hopeful to receive the remainder. But the situation we're at is she will not know until after we need to get kind of started on that project. So she's going to come before you today and seek that matching funding. And if it turns out that it's not needed, then it would just revert back to our funds. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dana. So just go ahead and state your name and introduce yourself.
Good evening. I'm Dana Monson with the City of Franklin. I am the principal staff for the Public Art Advisory Commission. So that is the role that I am coming before you this evening. And as Ken stated, we are looking to find funding to complete the Veterans Alley project. This project has been near and dear to all of our hearts. As you know, we have 3 total pedestrian alleys in the city. We've partnered with you on a number of them and have been able to create some very beautiful spaces that allow folks to safely walk from one area to the next. It connects the art craft area with the downtown, some of the shops and et cetera, and then some of the restaurants over on East Court Street, parking all the way over onto Water Street. So we realized that it's been a great value. People have really enjoyed it. I have my grandson takes guitar lessons at Frank's Guitars, and I have sat many Friday evening and watched folks in those alleys taking pictures and different things like that. So it's really amazing to see. So as Ken said, we now have the other side of the alley to finish. We started on this first half, that is the piece that is adjacent to the Elks building. That side was ready. We was ready to go. I worked through the city and was able to get funding through the state, through the READY program, through the 180 in arts, as well as funding from the Indiana Arts Commission. So we were able to get that portion paid. The Economic Development Commission did also give us some EDC fees to help pay for the lighting for that portion as well. So we were able to get that completely paid for through grant fees, which was, or through grants, which was really amazing. Once again, I'm trying to do the same thing to finish this other side. The goal is to have, as Ken said, a beautiful flag. It's going to be very large. It's going to be backlit in colors of red and blue. The unique piece about this is, as part of this vignette, you're going to have a series of flags on the bottom that show the history of the flag. So the very first flag with the 13 colonies, and then as there were changes made, we're going to have a special notice to put one in for 1823 for the year that the county and the city were incorporated. So we'll have our birthday flag. So we'll have all these other flags to really give us some historical significance and remembrance of the 250th anniversary. That is our goal. That will finish this this entire piece out. Eric Lugers owns the building that this side will be going for. He is very supportive and excited about the project as well. I'm sure if you noticed when he purchased the building, he did a lot of renovation, top cleaning, bringing the brick back to life and making it really beautiful. So this is going to be just truly the crown jewel for this piece. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about this.
Today, I happened to pass the historical marker for the Hopewell flag.
Did
And
you?
I wonder, is there anything unique about the way that one looked that we might want to?
We could look at it and see. Yeah, that's a very good question, Don. That is definitely worth looking into.
In the tourism sense, you know, the beautification of the downtown keeps people from reacting negatively to it, right?
Exactly.
And that sort of thing. But it occurs to me, with the Elks Club having a national magazine,
Mhm.
that maybe somehow, maybe you can work with McKinsey, maybe somehow can get an article in there about that. And Elks nationwide will know about this celebratory alley. If they happen to come near Indiana, they might pay us a visit.
That's an excellent point. We will be happy to do that. The Elks has also been hosting for the last 2 years, Danny, I think the state convention. So it has brought in folks from around the country. I won't steal Danny's thunder. I will let him talk about what he's got to talk about, but bringing in other folks and seeing that as well. We really do see people that come in to take pictures in these alleys and to see these things. And I completely agree. Our proximity to Camp Atterbury and our connections through someone just like Marty Umbarger and that kind of thing really help us to have that connection with the military. And I would love to be able to see that used in a way to honor and further honor them.
Yeah, in this case, it's a way
Great
to
idea.
reach a national audience that's
Absolutely.
already filtered down to the kind of people who would want to see
Right,
it. So-
right. That's an excellent idea. I love that.
Remind us how much you're asking for today?
50,000.
50,000.
Yes, I did apply for it's the T-Mobile hometown grant for the $50,000. They will not give me a final answer until the end of June. It's like June 29th. And if we wait that long, then we're just going to lose a lot of momentum to get this done.
What's your confidence level on getting that a part of it?
I received an email that said they are going through them now, and they received over 1,000 applications and they have 25 grants. So I'm not as confident as I would like to be, in all honesty. But I put my best foot forward, so we'll see.
Sure.
Yeah.
Have you looked with Johnson County REMC and any of their
Mhm.
grants that they? Okay.
They've given us grants in the past. They do a $5,000 grant. I actually did apply for a grant for them this year. Unfortunately, I did not. Again, they received an incredible amount of grants this year, but they gave us they've given us 2 grants actually towards some of the art in this area. So yeah.
So we've seen the number 45,000 in 2 places.
That's what we had originally talked about. Do you think you would need
Yeah, I think we were saying, well, we could. 50 is comfortable, 45, it's depending on the electric. That's where the discrepancy, I think, has come from. My latest from the. Yeah, I would be 45 is fine if that was what was put forward. I am more than happy with that. I am sure that through our budget, if it does go over a little bit for the electric, that we can get that through the public arts.
I'll tell you all, after all the city employees I have, Dana's the best at looking for grants. She applies for so many grants, it's unbelievable. And I sit on the art commission, so I'm very educated on this, and so does Ken. And I think our budget this year from the city was $15,000, so she has been able to stretch dollars farther than anyone in the city. And I'm downtown constantly, obviously, and the Instagram, the amount of photos taken in our alleys that you've helped
It's
with, is
incredible.
unbelievable.
It's quite a compliment.
It is.
Do we have a motion?
I'll move the support up to 50,000.
I'll think of that.
Any other discussion or questions for Dana?
I know you have two veterans on this board, so we're happy to see
That's
that.
good to know. I need to meet with you gentlemen then.
And you've got a 250-year-old.
I'll see you all the time.
Okay, we'll take a vote then. All in favor of approving grant for up to $50,000 for the 250th alley decor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passed.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
If you have just a quick second, I did want to kind of give you an update on our walking tour. Felicia, is it possible to pull that up? This thing is almost ready to go live and we are so excited. So this is the vision that I had when I was here to see you before, when we asked for some funding for the videos and for this walking tour. So this is the, it's still in draft form. There's still some things that we're kind of working on to make this happen. But essentially what this will be is that you will be able to go at any point in downtown Franklin in an area, and you will be able to pull this app up right on your phone. You don't have to have a special app. It's literally walkfranklin.story.app. It comes right up. It will have through GPS, it will tell you you're right here. Here is all of the art things. Here's all of the historical information. Here is signage. There's sign tours, all different kinds of tours you could choose to take. Felicia, if you want to click on the art walk, this is how they come up. And if you click, yes, click start tour. All of these are going to work the same way. So all of the tours will work the same way. But here's a map of the downtown. All of those dots show you where there is some type of art. If you will click on the third one from my right, on my right hand side, right up there. Yes, click on that one, please. And it should pop. Yeah, see if it'll come up down there. Go right over where it says Cool City Mural. On the bottom, go to your, click that, please. Each one of them pulls up. It comes up just like that. And if you will scroll down, there's some information about it. And amazingly enough, the artist is a gentleman called Danny Causey. You should meet him sometime. It's quite an interesting character. And that is a link to the video. If you want to click it really quick, it's only like a minute long. It's really short, but I think it'll give you a good flavor of what's going on.
I'm Danny Causey, and this is Cool City in downtown Franklin. To tell you the truth, they didn't have a name until we made a brochure and we ended up with a name. So it's been Franklin represents the city. He's got glasses on, so we called it Cool City. I was really excited about the program. The issue was in, and I wanted to be a piece that spoke to our simple. So they obviously represents Franklin, but all the kinds of each high school. There's violence and the very last flag on the right is the colors of the Community Foundation. The key off the flag, so that's kind of like the key of bringing the schools together and bringing the county together. So it's just an idea. Some lessons on Ben Franklin. It's just a fun addition.
But here, all of the different artists that you can learn about kind of the back history of what some of these art pieces were. we've had one of our artists that was able to, Luann Leeds, she goes through and tells you kind of some of her technique in what she's doing, because it's pretty cool when you paint those electrical boxes. It's a little bit different than you would think it would be. So it's really fun hearing those things. So this thing is so close to being ready to launch. We're really excited for it. By the end of Ethos, or by the time of Ethos at the end of the month, we should be able to have it out live. We're going to be promoting it like crazy on Facebook, Instagram, websites, any place and every place. And obviously we have that strong connection with you guys as a partner on this. So Festival Country will also be prominently be mentioned in this as well. But just want to let you know, it is coming. It's almost there. It's so cool. I think there's almost 30 stops just on the art tour. So it's pretty neat. Yep. Thank you again. I really appreciate all your support. I'm sorry.
The web address?
It's Walk Franklin, all one word, .story, and story is spelled STQRY. Don't know. It's an Australian company origination, .app. So walkfranklin.story.app. You can actually go onto it today and you would be able to pull it up with that address, and you can see. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be able to be real easy to find. So
Thanks.
Join us for the check photo here. Now, I'll ask that anybody not post about this until we find out if we get the other grant, but we can always rescind this, and it's not everything so. Okay, fine. Hey.
Any chairs.
Dana's story walk is so much cooler than I had even imagined.
It really is. Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
And the good thing is he didn't show you this, but there's the next button, so you can just follow one after the
Yeah,
other.
you can just keep going all the way through.
Right in order.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah, and you can start it anywhere. You don't have to be, we are, when we're putting together, we're starting everything at the visitor center. So the visitor center is kind of our main point. But you can start this down at the amphitheater if you want to, or you can start it over at the library, at the Happily Ever After mural. It doesn't matter where you're at to start it. You can start it at any point and follow through. So
You're saying if you hit forward, it goes to the next nearest one, or what?
it goes to the next one.
Wow.
Yeah, we get to choose the order when we put them in on the back end of the website. All right, next we're going to bring up Danny Causey. So the third word in our name, Johnson County Convention and so on, is convention. We've done a good job at, some business tourism. We've had some sports tourism, a lot of leisure, but we've really in like the last year and a half been able to lure more conferences. And Danny's going to talk to you about one that we've been fortunate enough to bring here.
I have to tell you, so that's the first time I've seen that video. So that was kind of fun to be here for that. So before I start, I wanted to thank you all. We were very honored to be the partner of the year last year. And I know myself and Dana and all my colleagues totally understand the value of Festival Country. And I don't know that the general public always does, but we're trying to help with that. And the amount of impact that Ken and your team has had on our county is incalculable almost over these last few years. So with that being said, so we are looking at bringing, to my knowledge, the largest conference that downtown Franklin has hosted, at least in recent memory. It's coming. It's the Indiana Landmarks Preserving Historic Places Conference. And that serves not just for Indiana landmarks, it also is the Indiana Main Street Conference. So people that are in my position from all over the state will be coming here. It also serves as the DHPA, which is the Department of Historic Preservation and Archaeology Archaeology Conference, the IU Historic Preservation Conference, and some of the Department of Natural Resources Conference is a part of this too. I can tell you that we have skin in the game also. It's very rare that we are able to do a sponsorship and when I say we, I mean Discover Downtown Franklin. But we feel the value of these people coming and seeing what we're doing here in Franklin. There's a buzz around Franklin. So we are actually giving $2,500 of our budget towards this also. So each year when this conference picks a host city, and this has been a long process, as you might know, they asked for at least $10,000 sponsorship. So the way the budget worked out, I don't have to tell any of you there's been some changes at the state and there's a lack of state funding. So to make this conference happen, we have to come up with $15,000 as the local match. So the ask that I'm asking for you is a $7,500 ask. The rest of that will be made up for by the city of Franklin and then the money that we spent. This will bring in up to 400 people, possibly more. They're looking at, it might be a record crowd for 4 days. So this takes place, hopefully you've read all of it, but it takes place at the end of September into October. We're going to be showing these folks some really awesome stuff. It's mostly focused on downtown Franklin. They have 2 sets of rooms booked in the 2 major hotels out there with 120 rooms. They have those reserved for this. And to my knowledge, I believe that every short-term rental in the city will be filled also. So I know personally a lot of people snapped up some of the nicer Airbnb homes. But I think this is going to be a really great opportunity to show off Festival Country and downtown Franklin. So, as you know, I have some experience with Festival Country, and I think this would be one of the bigger conferences we've brought in, unless you're talking about like the Google conference at the school. But a lot of those folks didn't stay in our county. But we're looking at up to 400 people, at least 120 room units, and a considerable amount of money being spent at our local businesses, and everything like that. So I would be more than happy to take questions. I have been involved in the planning of this conference. We have a local committee that Dana and Ken have met with them before. We have a lot of local leaders on the local committee. So these folks are going to be getting to tour Franklin College. They're going to get to go see the Schoolhouse Homestead, if you're familiar with that. They're going to get to do a lot of cool stuff and really understand what Festival Country and Franklin's all about.
So is this all going to take place, the meetings at one venue or?
Yes,
breakout
yes. I'm
rooms?
sorry, I should have told you that. So they came to town last year. We toured every single venue in downtown Franklin and some outside of downtown. So they were going to be spending a considerable amount of money. That they actually said this is one of the more expensive places they've ever done it, but I'm really excited because they're going to be hosting this conference at the Garment Factory. And if you're thinking about historic preservation, what a beautiful job the Bemis brothers did on that. So the sessions will be based out of there. They're going to have some meals there, but there's also some plans for different meals around the downtown locations. They will also be hosting conference sessions at the City Hall, council chambers, and then at the Johnson County Museum. So that's also a pretty amazing preservation story. So they're going to be all over town. We have a welcome ceremony the first major night of the conference. It's going to be held at RFD. So I really think we're hitting like all the hot spots, and I think we're gonna we don't have it inked yet, but we're gonna do something at 10 Pens also. So we're gonna have them spread all throughout town. Oh yes, there will be a plenary, and they're also there's like a midweek music series maybe at the Art Craft, so they're gonna be using the Art Craft also. Thank you.
I'll tell you, between the Garment Factory and the Art Craft and RFD, couldn't ask for better places to showcase
Yeah.
what we've done with old structures.
Yeah, and Rob, so I've been to this conference like 12 times because I was with, if you don't know, I worked for Franklin Heritage before DDF, and I've been to a lot of these conferences. So we've had a long time of learning how they can be really great or really poor, and we're hoping this was going to be one of the best ones. So it's something that we've been trying to get them to come here for a long time, and we finally talked them into it. And I think a lot of that is things like what the alleys and stuff that create that buzz that people want to be here now.
We have a
You want to make a motion?
motion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
please.
I'll make a motion. What was the amount again that we were?
$7,500.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve $7,500.
Second.
Motion seconded. Any further discussion or questions for Danny?
I want to repeat the names for the record so they got it. So they know when they do the minutes, who made the motions.
Got it.
Yeah.
So
James made the motion. Who did the second?
Jeanette did.
Thank you. Yeah, you really need to get somebody else to do this job. Can't hire good help. All right, so
what's your pay? How's that?
that cut it in half. So let's hold a vote on this. All in favor of approving grant for preserving historic places conference for $7,500 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you
Opposed?
so much. If we get it, there should be some opportunities that we can get you an invite to some, maybe like a fun party or something. So we'll definitely pass that through Ken to the board and maybe have you come out and have some snacks and a drink on us. So
Separate from that, do you think it would be a benefit to any staff member to attend and
it's
listen to some
definitely
of the
possible.
ideas
So
and that?
we're blessed to have Mackenzie on our board. We also have a
So she'll be
committee
there
member
anyway.
here. So we have, it's actually a very affordable conference to go to. They're finalizing the speaking schedule right now. I think don't quote me on this, but I think to attend the conference is only like $250. So there might be some opportunities. And as soon as they get their little, they're getting ready to open registration in the coming weeks, and then they'll have their whole slate. But I think just the opportunity to get, like, if you're familiar with that Schoolhouse Homestead, she has over 1 million social media followers. I think that's going to be a big deal too. So some people might buy a ticket just for that, but there will be there'll be a lot of Main Street type things there. It could be possible that it would be good for your stuff.
Well, if we've got one person there, that's
Mhm.
hopefully they can share what they learned.
Well, and it's sponsoring at this level. I'm sure that we can get you a free registration or two, probably. So thank you very much.
You can join us for the.
Oh, photo.
Gotta do the photo. It's mandatory photo.
Yeah. That smile.
It does.
I'm turning the other half of the shirt off. Thank you. That brings us to the treasurer's report, please.
Okay. For the tax period April, May, the Johnson County Treasurer's Office collected $118,194.03, which is up from $84,665.68 for the same month in 2025. That is $8,279 more than our best month on record thus far. Our collections are up 40% for the month and 26% year over year. At the end of April, the CVT's checkbook balance was $746,476.25. Expenses presented in the month of May totaled $189,338.62. In May, there were 6 deposits totaling $247.67, and there was $5.23 paid in interest. At the end of May, the CVT's checkbook balance was $599,528.41. Expenses presented in the month of June total $62,679.18. These details have been shared on Teamwork for review. Claims are scheduled to be paid following tonight's board meeting.
Thank you. Any questions for Jeanette?
Maybe a question for Ken. Do we know what the drive was for that increase? And it's great to hear.
Everything's up. Occupancy percent, the rate that they charge, the demand. It's just been strong across the board. So
Do those numbers include Indy 500?
yeah, but that's just like one weekend. This has been going on all year.
Yeah.
You look at our competitive set, and I just saw the latest report, and we were at 79%, and everyone else was at like 72, 60s, even in the 50s. So like we did our biggest spring campaign ever, our co-op with Visit Indiana. We pumped like 150,000 into that. We've never got even close to that in the spring. So that's got to help. And then our new agency, the Flatland, is doing some like groundbreaking stuff that we've never done in the past. So the advertising is really spot on. So that has to help. But also, as they talked about, it's just a matter of creating things that people want to see and then telling that story. So hope it continues through the rest of the year.
Need more cowbell.
Didn't bring one.
All right.
Legal report. Anything for us, John?
Well, man.
Oh, yeah.
John Young, Board Attorney. All right, I want to give the board an update. I think we talked about this briefly last month, that the legislature passed House Bill 1210, I think, that made some changes to appointments and membership of the CBT board. And what it does is right now, the largest city in a county has a certain proportion of the membership based on population on the CBT board. So currently Greenwood, I think it was probably about this at the time the board was established, has about 39% of the county population. So proportionally on a 9-member board, that is, and you round to the nearest whole number, that's 3 members. So that's some of the background on this. Well, the legislature's changed the law now for our purposes, say a city, including Franklin, now gets an automatic appointment to a CBT board.
By being second largest or by
It's a tier 2.
All cities.
all
cities.
cities?
Okay, but
Not count.
not towns. Yeah, you have to actually, so yeah, I guess it doesn't matter which tier. So, for Franklin being the only other city in the county, Mayor Barnett now has an automatic appointment. Sounds pretty fair, right? Well, the statute also says that it is the commissioners that set the number of board appointments. And a board cannot be an even number. So this mandatory additional appointment is going to turn your board into a 10-member board, which would be an illegally constituted board. So I've had several discussions with the county attorney, and the commissioners are aware of this issue because it's the commissioner's ordinance. They will need to change it. That to accommodate Mayor Barnett's appointment, okay, there's really only a couple options. If the commissioners basically sacrifice one of their 6 appointments
We're getting fired.
and only
Tell
have
us.
Are you saying there's a question before you go on. Are you saying their ordinance is what specifies you can't have an even number, or the state statute specifies?
state statute.
Okay.
Statute says it has to be an odd number board.
Okay.
So because you're going to go to a 10-member board, if things stay the same, you would necessarily have to go to an 11-member board. All right. To make it odd. And then to complicate matters, the math on Greenwood, having the proportional appointments. Okay. So that could kick you up to 12 members, which would be even. And then you'd have to go to 13. So
How many chairs up here, guys?
yes, and we haven't worked out all the math,
no
but
room.
so if it remains 9 members, and that can be done, it would require the commissioners saying, we're only going to make 5 appointments. Greenwood will keep its 3, and now Mayor Barnett will have the 9th, if you will. So the commissioners have not decided exactly what they were going to do now, but I've certainly told the county attorney concerns, and this is from experience, but very large boards are sometimes unwieldy. There's other practical problems like your space. You may have to start meeting over at the Festival Country building. So, but I've also been told that I think the commissioners are seriously considering, because of a good relationship with Franklin as well, and a good relationship with Mayor Barnett, that I hope they are inclined to just give up one of their appointments so it just remains a 9-member board. So I have asked Ken, and Ken has mentioned that he believes that a 9-member board would still be appropriate. I think it would be a good idea for the board, and Ken, can prepare a letter, but you guys to review it. And if the board agrees with that, I go ahead and send a letter to the commissioners just expressing, hey, our desire is this. If that's your desire, I'd have you all sign off on it if that's what you want to do. And then there's also some timing issues. So the commissioners have said they will have a firm answer for us before the end of the month. They will have one other meeting this month, I believe, but I'm not certain that they're going to have that they be adopting or amending the current ordinance this month, or if they're just going to make a decision, and that would be the following month. But something's going to happen soon, and we will have an answer by the end of the month. What I'm told is what I was told. What that does to Mayor Barnett's appointment, I would have concerns from a legal perspective if you were a illegally constituted board. It's one thing for a board member to be on there that maybe shouldn't be a member for some reason or another. But if your board has 10 members, which is against the statute, not that anybody would complain, but I could see State Board of Accounts flagging something like that. Meaning that even if it was for 1 month, you're expended, the claims you approved, any money you spent, could be called into question for that reason. Now that may be, thinking too much into it, and Ken apparently has been assured by the Tourism Association that, this will work out, and not to have too many concerns over that. And I would agree. But it may be if the commissioners haven't amended the statute that maybe we would ask Mayor Barnett to just hold off on his appointment for a month so we don't have an illegally constituted board. Now, I don't know if that'd be a big deal, but it's just something else that I figured I'd bring up. So
in your shuttle diplomacy, might it also, I would suggest it might be possible to ask the commissioners, look, if you give up one seat, and then the mayor would agree that rather than booting somebody out, the mayor just appoints that person who would get booted out until their term is up.
Well, but remember, the mayor's appointment is going to be a brand new appointment for 2 years. So I thought about that too, is what if the appointment was already somebody on the board whose term was set to expire at the end of this year? Well, if that happened though, that person would now have a new 2-year term because they'd now be a mayor's appointment. Now, I guess I need to read the statute again, but I don't think it says that situation could not happen. I think you could, be elected or appointed for consecutive terms under those circumstances. I don't see why not. But that would still, some of it's going to be the mayor and the commissioners talking it over and figuring out, what makes the most sense. But the county, they agreed with my analysis of the situation, so they understand the issue we're looking at, that once Mayor Barnett's appointment comes on, and either we're going to grow, by a couple of members, maybe more than a couple, or we just stay the same, in terms of number of members. So that's why I go back to, I certainly would not think if the board agrees with that, I'd send a letter to the commissioners just letting them know, hey, this is what we think, this is our board, maybe problems that, think could happen, if the board got too big. But again, maybe, maybe folks thinks that a couple more members is a good idea. That's not my place.
It's too bad we can't argue against the even number thing because A, our votes are rarely close, and B, we rarely have everybody here. We often have an even number of people voting up here.
I was scratching my head on that as well, why the legislature wouldn't have eliminated that, but historically, they just don't like boards that are, even numbered, just so you avoid any possibility of a tiebreaker, but that's the way they wrote it.
So you're asking us if we have a general consensus of how you ought to move forward and write.
Well, no, there's nothing for us to do. All the board can do is let its opinion be known, if it has one, to the commissioners, because they're going to make the ultimate decision on how many board members there are. And that's going to come down to them, you know, either the board's going to have to get bigger or it can remain the same, but the commissioners are going to have to give up one of their appointments.
Once it gets bigger, we'll just sit out there and we'll put the audience up here.
Yeah, I'm sure Judge Reasoner will open up the, circuit court. We can sit in the juror's box. I mean,
So you mentioned a letter. Would that come from Ken?
well, would I?
Write it and have Jason sign it. You would all get a chance to look at it.
Yeah, or if you all wanted to sign it, I mean, but I would go ahead if that's the consensus, you just make a motion, but yeah, I'd have, at the least Jason sign off on that.
Well, we Greenwood appointees apparently don't have any skin in this game, it sounds
Mhm.
like. So
No.
I'd be interested in what the county folks think about it.
I think 9 makes sense.
I want to stay at 9.
I would agree. And if there's the ability to have somebody who's coming up on the end of their second year that happens to live in Franklin and wouldn't mind serving another 2 years, be put in that position, then I'm more than happy to fill that role if it's required. So,
Well, and because the mayor's appointment is, that's mandatory. The
Right.
way that statute reads is he must appoint somebody. So,
Do they have to be a Franklin resident?
believe it or not, the way the statute reads is you don't necessarily have to even be a resident of Johnson County to serve on this board. If, for example, you operate a hotel in the county, if you had a business,
Right.
in the industry, in the county, it's not a requirement that you're actually a resident of the county. I assume that also applies to Franklin, but I think that Franklin would have more than enough well-qualified candidates for Mayor Barnett to consider. So,
so when is the drop dead date on this? Like, when does this need to happen by?
well, the commissioners ideally should, have this done before July 1. That's when the law takes effect, but a lot of these laws take effect and, the local government has had an opportunity to catch up to it. Sometimes it's government. Sometimes you're going to have some lag time. And I don't think anybody's going to be penalized for that. I don't think
Ken's going to jail.
Yeah, there's no penalties in the statute, but it just, it would set up a basis for challenges and things like that. Fortunately, it seems like we all get along well enough here in Johnson County that I don't foresee that. But, an issue like State Board of Accounts, I don't know if they'd overlook that though. So
It sounds like there might be a general consensus to stick with 9. And if you want to offer up James's idea about if there's somebody who could continue as the mayoral appointee for that next round
and
blend to it, what I mean?
And I recommend a letter from the standpoint that lets, the commissioners know what the board's position is. But by all means, reach out to Mayor Barnett, reach out to, Kevin Walls or Ron West and just say, hey, what are you thinking about? Here's some suggestions. I'm sure they'd be open to them.
Any other questions for John? Any questions for us or anything we need to know about that?
No, I think I covered it all.
Thanks, John.
And like I said, I would, if the board does want to send something to the commissioners, I'd make a motion on that just so it's in the minutes and everybody knows what the board's position is.
Fair enough.
I move to write the letter.
I second that.
All right, we have a motion before us for Ken to draft a letter in general in support of a continuing 9-member board with a bit of a transition as described by James.
Yeah, you guys could review it, you may put in your own concerns. You
I'll-
may put in, there could be some the negative and potential negative impact may outweigh those things. So it's gonna be your guys' letter.
I'll post it on Teamwork tomorrow. You can offer suggestions and then I'll get it signed and off to the commissioner secretary to distribute.
Thank you.
You just got Jason sign it or we all need to sign it? Think Jason is fine?
Yeah, just one person, I would imagine.
Okay.
Yeah, and especially if the letter's crafted in a way that you can tell the message came from the entire board.
Yeah, it'll be stated as such.
Yeah,
Of
maybe.
course, Jason can't affirm that with a signature. He didn't hear any of that.
I may just sign it or may just put signed by, agreed on by the members of the Johnson County Board, something to that effect.
Maybe put our names on it.
Yeah, I'll
The
put your names
appointments,
on it.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you want just the county names or all names?
I think everybody.
everybody.
Okay. Very good.
So they remember who that we are.
Oh, but that's all I have.
All right, thank you. That brings us to the president's report. Jason is not here, but I will add one short comment. I was fortunate this week to, we gave a sponsorship to Dustin Brenton and his company making the Micronation movie. And I stopped in at one of the shootings this week. And I also seen online where he's been posting photos every day from like 12 or 13 consecutive days of shooting. And he's engaged a lot of folks. And every time you see him in front of a camera, he's wearing a Festival Country shirt or a Franklin, Indiana shirt or something local. So he's trying to do all the right things. I saw what appears to be a prop that got used at Ann's the other day where somebody had a newspaper and had a big old Festival Country ad in the newspaper. So
Yeah, Dustin's really taking good care of us. So we have a lot of exposure.
that's all I wanted to say. Rector's report.
All right. We touched on the first highlight. Second one is the cost of insurance has been rising every year. I was able to get them to knock that down last year, but it comes roaring back. So we switched insurance carriers and saved 50%. So that'll allow us to put money into what our true mission is. Shelby and team has hired 4 influencers for this summer.
Real quick.
Yeah.
What, sorry, what does that insurance cover?
Oh, we've got multiple policies: crime, liability, business, drone, vehicle, property.
So to flagellate a deceased equine,
Wait, okay, go ahead.
the Gatling Gauntlet, if it has not been destroyed at this point, would this carrier potentially?
No,
No, okay.
no.
That property came property.
And we, when we were looking at other insurance carriers, we contacted like every carrier, but also special ones that specialize in high risk. And the high risk one said, no, that's too scary for us. So I would love to keep beating the whatever you said.
Flagellating the deceased equine.
Exactly. Sorry, Jennifer. Yeah, so that's good news for us. The influencers, one of them starting, and Don had asked me the question, are they coming to Greenwood? Yeah, they come to all of the community. They help pick what they want to see. So if a community's got stuff going on, they'll go there. A few other things I wanted to mention on highlights. We have a new intern that started this summer, Auden Phillips, who's done great work already, including she just sent out a press release about our Chalk the Block event that was picked up by 4 entities already in like one day. So Auden, do you want to say a few words or anything, or
Just that I'm really excited to be here.
All right, thank you.
Cool.
We're glad to hear too.
And where are you coming from?
Franklin.
Okay. So you went real far.
Yeah, so when she fills in at the front desk from time to time, she actually can direct. So it's win-win. Perfect. Mackenzie's been doing very festive person things. The concept is to do for one person what you'd like to do for everybody. It comes from the Savannah Bananas. So she's taken people out to lunch and given them some swag, appeared at a concert and just gave a random person an experience where there's a Festival Country blanket. She gets some food from a food truck. So that's been like, and we can film these things and share them as well. So it's kind of on brand for us. Shelby has been busy. One of the things she did, she built most of those walking tours on the Story app. So she did that, and she's also just wrapped up putting all the content on our fall co-op. Yeah, we have to plan our fall advertising already. So if we want to keep that hotel momentum going. And Felicia just wrapped up a project where she created a countywide postcard. It's kind of illustrated type with different icons for what each community is known for, like apples in Trafalgar, popcorn in for not just popcorn in Edinburgh, the clock and water slides in Greenwood and so on. So we'll probably have physical postcards for you next month to send out to encourage tourism. Yeah, that's that. So web traffic has spiked up to almost 40,000 users in May. They're coming to us for festivals and events. Renaissance Fair, just starting this weekend and the following weekend, and Strawberries on the Square were among the top things they were searching for. The Placer highlights, as you can see, that confirms what the hotel data is saying, that everything's up year over year. And we're getting visitors from New York, Atlanta, Seattle, among the cities coming. There's some stats on Strawberries on the Square and the Franklin Farmers Market opening day. So what we're seeing is that year over year, most events and most things that we offer are just seeing exponential growth. So I guess it shows that like people like Danny who create a market that's named Best Farmers Market in Indiana are doing the right thing, and it's leading to more people. There's a further breakdown of the top areas where we're getting visitors from. Obviously, Indy's going to be our top market, and Chicago remains a strong one. We've actually poured more marketing resources into Chicago. We originally thought that people wouldn't come from Chicago, but when we did limited advertising there, it was actually more successful. So we're hitting that market hard. And there's the travel report that shows the comp set. I just saw our last one that arrived today, and we're still up at like 79 point something %. So that's really awesome. And that's our financial picture, remains strong despite all the grants and things that we've been putting out there. We switched the date for the fall party, so that's the new date, September 22nd at 6:30. So if you'd like to put that on your calendars.
What was the old date?
It wasn't a Monday, a different Monday.
I probably have to delete that.
28th. It was the Monday, the 28th. We've moved it to a Tuesday. We found a lot of people have government meetings and things. Monday's pretty busy for that, so they said, could you have it on another day? So we might get a slightly different crowd for this one.
Is that at Mallow or here?
It's at Mallow. We get those venues free as part of our concert sponsorship. And I believe that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Ken or anything else they saw in the PowerPoint? Public comments from all ye public?
We have one person from the public over there.
So good.
I thought you might want to share what you said today about the butterfly wings
Yeah,
for accepting artists.
yeah, so Ken, we gave a grant to Old Town Greenwood Inc. for the what do I pronounce it?
Imago,
Imago
Butterfly Project.
The
And we just-
Butterfly Project, and they just put the RFP together and went out today, right? Or
Yeah, it's on our website. So festivalcountryindiana.com/imago, IMAGO. So I've reached out and contacted some national and international artists like Eduardo Cobra from Portugal, and his team responded actually today. So expressed some possible interest. So we could potentially land a famous artist for this project.
do we foresee like shipping them a wing and back, or they come here?
I would think that it's possible in a few cases we would ship the wings and get them back. So to be determined. Speaking of updates, the amphitheater, we're finalizing the sign. We've accepted a sign proposal for the neon festival country sign on top of the Trafalgar Amphitheater. So that thing's opening later this month. So the sign will probably be done shortly after that, but all of our projects are moving along.
I saw the town manager, Brian Gregg, this week, and he said everything was on schedule. All right. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So done. This meeting is adjourned.